Lauded for complicated compositions like Hangar 18, Rust in Peace hit number 23 on the charts and quickly went platinum.
That album was really a landmark record for Megadeth. It established them not just as a heavy metal force, but as just the musical masterminds, really, that they get a lot of credit for being at this point.
We were rebuilding the beast. Megadeth's time had come, and that was really the time for us to go out and conquer and claim what we've been wanting to get for a long time.
The challenge was a difficult one. Mustaine and Ellefson were physically ravaged and flat broke.
We're 4 albums into Megadeth's career and didn't have a dime to my name.
You're spending $300 to $500 a day, every day snorting cocaine and heroin. You're going to have money problems.
Those metal kids are looking up to us like we're, big metal superstars. And little did they know, I had probably upwards of a couple $100,000 of tax debt and credit card debt because I'd been strung out on dope.
To further the ironies, Dave Mustaine became the poster boy for MTV's Rock the Vote.
This convention will be taking place until Thursday, and God willing, we'll get some solutions by then. This is Dave Mustaine for MTV News, reminding you, register to vote.
Despite the chaos, the band went to work on their 5th album. Inspiration struck in a sun-baked warehouse in California's San Fernando Valley.
Wow, I can't even believe I found this place. This is an old rehearsal studio called the Power Plant. We used to come up here and rehearse. Man, we wrote a lot of stuff in here. Wow, a lot of history in here. Check this out. So this is it right here, room number 3. This is where we wrote Rust in Peace in here. We auditioned Marty Friedman in there. We wrote and rehearsed most of Countdown to Extinction in there. In fact, what we'd do is we'd go in and we'd rehearse. And whenever we got stuck and couldn't come up with anything new, we'd come out here to the basketball court. We'd shoot some hoops for a while. And we'd go back in and Dave would write, ga-da-ga, ga-da-na, and all of a sudden we'd have sweating bullets. And then we'd come out, shoot some more hoops again, and then we'd go back in, he'd pick his guitar up, and he'd go, ga-da-ga, 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 and then we had Symphony of Destruction. It was beautiful. It was like we were just banging out tunes left and right, thanks to that basketball hoop right there.
Megadeth turned their hook shots into a slam dunk. In the recording studio, they created a masterwork of metal. 1992's Countdown to Extinction debuted at number 2 on the pop charts and made them metal megastars.
Countdown to Extinction was the first record that had Megadeth songs played on the radio and had Megadeth songs played on MTV. They went from playing, 3,000 seaters and selling 600,000 or 700,000 copies of a record to selling over 2 million copies of that record in the United States alone and playing arenas.
When Countdown to Extinction debuted at number 2, we were sitting in the limo just getting the report, and I'm like, here I am, rocking around the world and hearing my record is at the top of the charts. There's could have just shot me right then. I would have been happy.
But in a cruel twist of fate, Metallica soon released their 5th album, and it debuted at number 1. Dave was devastated.
The success didn't matter. Countdown to Extinction was double platinum. That didn't matter. I had the house, I had the wife, I had the kid, I had everything. But I had nothing because I was still comparing myself to my previous band.
Hello, me. Meet the real me. And my misfits way of life.
It's like you pull up to a stoplight, and you have your own car, and so do they. They're both Mercedes, but yours says smaller number. I mean, it's like, there's still that penis envy.
I witnessed that anger, at the point where Dave had sold millions of records and had millions of adoring fans. He was still angry. He still was motivated by revenge.
You could see the decline of Dave slipping back into the old stuff again and getting high. And it was weird because, I mean, we were at the pinnacle of our career at that point. We were playing arenas, and it was big.
Megadeth was, in fact, at the height of their popularity. And in February '93, they were booked to play the world-renowned Budokan Arena in Tokyo, Japan.
It was like, yeah, Budokan's ready for you. I was like, this is great. This is better than being on the top of the charts. You know, Cheap Trick at Budokan, Megadeth at Budokan. We're here.
We were all kind of fragmenting a little bit because success was coming our way, and we're all starting to make a little bit of money. Just everything that would pull us apart.
On February 17th, just days before they were to leave for Tokyo, Megadeth played a show in Eugene, Oregon. Dave was a disaster.
Dave was intoxicated. I was like, oh man, this is horrible. This sucks. And finally, it was almost like an act of God. The barricade down in front of the stage broke. And it was just like a big pop.
Last thing I remember, I incited a riot. Somehow, the barricade broke. Everybody rushed to the stage.
We were like, we're out. That's it. Let's go.
But as soon as Dave left the venue, he swallowed a handful of Valium pills. And by the time he was hustled to an emergency room, he was rambling incoherently.
I was covered in sweat and piss and everything. They got me into pajamas, and then I died. They took me to an emergency room, and I was dead.
Dave was resuscitated at the hospital. When he regained consciousness, he was moved to the Meadows, a rehab center in Phoenix, Arizona.
Dave called us all and wanted us all to come out for a family week there. Here comes Megadeth marching in, you know, the counselors and people that Dave were working with. He said, look, you can't go on the road. If you go on the road too soon, it's going to be all over. We had to really just stop and just go, wow. I mean, Dave was almost a goner. If we would have continued on the road, it probably would have been one of those stories where rock star found dead in a hotel room.
My prayers are never answered.
The dream of playing Budokan was over. The trip was canceled.
It wasn't like, dude, I want to take this away from you guys. I want to deprive you of this cool chance. It happened, and I just felt bad to see him go through it. God, you know. It was, that for me is probably, in the whole time of Megadeth, the most disappointing moment.
I never wanted to shake him. I wanted to hold him. The thing about metal, the image of metal was, you know, a bunch of tough guys playing this really heavy music. So I didn't need to shake him and ask why. I understood why. I understood Dave.
After rehab, Dave tried to live his life by new rules, including group therapy sessions scheduled around rehearsals.
Now we're like, oh, and after rehearsal, we're going to have to go over to a group therapy meeting. And, huh? That's so on rock and roll. What is this all about?
It was the most excruciating thing. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to people that I'm basically paying their mortgage. I'm feeding them, their families, tell me that I'm a bad guy. It was like having your butt hairs pulled out very slowly.
Attempting to stay clean, Dave no longer tolerated any drug use by his bandmates. So when he suspected Nick Menza was intoxicated, Dave snapped.
We had talked to our tour manager, and he said, Nick, I want you to give me a urine test. And he said no, and I quit. And this is right before the concert. I had a hold of Nick's throat. We were in the lobby of a hotel in London, and I was ready to kill him. I figured if I couldn't punch him in the face, I'd rip his throat out. You know what? He's messing with my bread and butter. I mean, he's affecting my income, which is messing around with my family, and, you know, I had it.
Although intolerant of drug use within his own band, it wasn't long before Dave was back to battling his old demons. But in the summer of '93, he sobered up long enough to take part in a classic concert bill. In a series of European shows, Megadeth opened for Metallica, a once-in-a-lifetime battle of the bands.